Okay, so in the first part of this episode, we talked about Industrial Revolution, its context, why it happened, and then we started to analyze using our own framework, and we covered first and the second elements, which were economic dynamics and then workforce dynamics.
Yes.
And then in this part, we will cover the rest of the three elements.
Right. Ways of working, organizational dynamics, and drawbacks.
Okay.
So the third element, which is ways of working. So the Industrial Revolution changed how people work. You know, you can easily imagine, but how it changed, let me explain a little bit. Basically, the works were divided into smaller fragments than before, pre-Industrial Revolution era.
Okay.
Can you picture it?
After the revolution, people became responsible for only small portion of the entire processing line, or
So let's say the textile industry. Before the Industrial Revolution, how people produced products were quite, in a way, it's complicated because people needed to find the materials by themselves. Sometimes, they needed to knit by themselves. Also create, design the clothes and then produce the clothes. So basically, the one artisan needed to do many things. But thanks to the technological advancement, the production process was divided into many smaller pieces. So, one person just focusing on one tiny part of the production process, like dye the material. And then another person focuses on knit textile. Because it's more efficient by doing this way.
Yeah.
This way, one person can only focus on the one task and then can become quickly efficient in that job, right?
Okay, so now you have machines doing really powerful jobs, but machine can only do one type of job.
Yeah.
And they're very good at doing one type of job. So that kind of made other part of the jobs also fragmented.
Yes.
Okay. That kind of makes sense.
Absolutely. So factory workers focus on like fewer and narrower tasks.
Right.
And eventually work became more repetitive and standardized and easy. So in other words, now anyone can do that job. So you don't really have to learn for like years to do one job. Right? Of course, some people needed to operate machines and then manage factory, which required skills. But most of the workers in the factory, what they needed to do is just pull and push the lever. I think it was a little bit more complicated, I guess. But then it became way simpler than before. Right? I'm gonna talk about this later, but unfortunately, children were forced into workforce as well because now they didn't need a lot of knowledge to do the job.
Children. Wow.
Yeah, it was one of the very serious issues during the Industrial Revolution. Yeah, a lot of people at the young age, they were forced to work in factories and in mines.
Oh, that's sad. That's a really unhealthy environment.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So anyway, we are talking about ways of working, right? So that means HR needs to be aware how job will change, right? Job nature will evolve for this certain technological advancement.
Yeah.
And HR needs to accompany the organization to navigate through this organizational change.
Okay.
For example, generative AI, right? So now marketing team can create assets using generative AI. And then what they need to do is brush up and then validate the asset. Of course, there are many reasons, many issues like property right, etc. But then, the generative AI can completely change how people work. And then HR can play a very critical role in it.
Can you elaborate with regard to that point? Because to me, it sounds HR is a little bit still far from the actual change happening. So what part of change management is HR's responsibility?
Yeah, so many things, also it depends on what companies you're working on. But the first very important thing HR can do is to develop or train people, right? So change the way how they work, how people work isn't, we cannot easily adapt to new work style from today, right?
Okay.
So HR needs to support their like upskilling process. So that's one thing they can do.
Yeah.
But also other important things are communication. So change management involves a lot of communication, like organize, let's say, big conference or event where they can bring top management and ask them to talk about why this project is important, So for example, when they want to, when a company wants to implement generative AI solution, it requires change management. They need to upskill people, but also they need to clearly explain why this new technology is important and change their life, right?
Okay.
So sometimes HR takes this role.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And of course, organizational change. They need to change operational model.
Okay, they need to probably put people in the different positions or...
Yeah, exactly. And then in this case, you need to change create a new cost centers, new team. It requires a lot of administrative jobs as well. So
Okay.
HR, who supports this kind of organizational change, needs to be aware what kind of actions they need to take.
Okay.
Not only like qualitative part, like communication or explaining why upskilling, but also need to make sure that all the infrastructures will be ready. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
So that's the third one, ways of working. The fourth one is organizational dynamics.
Okay.
So it's about politics. So when new technology arrives, the power balance often changes. So let's talk about talking about the Industrial Revolution. Factory owners and shareholders enjoy large wealth and they gain more power because the previously factory worker owners didn't exist simply because there was not such a facility before. But now factory owners and then shareholders, because they own the stock sometimes of these factories, right? And then they amassed the wealth. So they have more say in politics.
Oh, okay.
And then also workers with the skills gain more power in the labor market. Because previously, before the Industrial Revolution, the people with, artisans with very good skills to produce, the clothes was have more power in the labor market. But now the workers who can operate machines or who can even like manage factory have a more power in the labor market, meaning that they can earn more, right? So this kind of a power balance shifts happened. For example, in the modern day organization, corporate scene, when we implement the generative AI, tech and data team might have more power, right? Well, actually, in the last 10 or 20 years, IT organizations are gaining more power because basically organizations didn't have this kind of facilities or assets before. But now these assets, IT assets, became essential to operate business. So now in many companies, IT organization becomes more and more important, right? And then generative AI, who can use those who can use this technology well may have more power in the organization. So the technological advancements can really shift who has the power inside the organization.
This actually happened to one of my clients.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, well, the IT department has been very powerful for the last, many decades. But because of this AI, especially generative AI, the teams who especially have decision-making power in the Gen AI related budget, they gained a lot of power.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Gen AI cost a lot.
Yes.
Hitting GPT model endpoints, it costs a lot. And this team can decide how much GPT resources this company can use.
Right,
and
right.
they can allocate the API like quota into different teams. And this decision-making power, I think people were fighting for it. And
Yeah.
because there are a lot of engineering teams who need the Gen AI, but
Yes.
I think it's better to be managed by just a central team, some central team. So yeah, I can relate to myself. Really, yeah, something that's happening right now at every company.
Right. It's it's a budget. The power to get more budget is really important, right? So as you said, now the teams who can get more budget are not the same as before, right?
Yeah.
So marketing team, maybe in one company, marketing team has a strong power before, but now many creative process became, can be handled by generative AI.
Right.
Then, the people, the team or people who are involved in this implementation of generative AI tools have more power. And then as an HR, it's very important to know which department, what kind of people are gaining more power. Because if you assign a person who is losing power to an important role, it can be sometimes disastrous because, the people will not really follow the person because people think that, oh, this person is kind of obsolete. He doesn't know or she doesn't know what technology is, or the mainstream business in our company is. So it's very, important to understand the power shift. And
This is really interesting. Like, I don't think organizational politics, all of them are bad. I think some type of organization politics is good as long as it benefits the organizational interest than self-interest. I think there must be a discussion whether to, how much the HR should be involved in it. But in my opinion, as long as HR really understands the organizational interest, the politics that benefits the organization, then I think it's okay to play with it and assign the right role to right people, shift the right people to the right positions.
Right.
Yeah, because if the team leader of some division and team leader of another division are, let's say, they are good friends, and if those two teams need to collaborate because it's a good time to, let's say, make some new products, then definitely HR should be wading in and assign the right role to them. Yeah. But I just wanted to comment on the organizational politics because it's a sensitive topic.
It's a good point that there are good politics and bad politics, right? Definitely HR people needs to play with the politics, but it doesn't necessarily mean a negative thing. I agree with that because for me, the politics is not just the manipulating power. The politics is really about equalizing power across organizations and also empower people if you have a power. In other words, if you have a power, you should not hoard or dominate the power. Because if you do that, basically you do it based on your self-interest. And then, you will kind of get rid of environment, damage the environment for people to innovate.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So if you have a power, I think it's really important for you to empower other people, right? And then try to make sure that the power balances are equal.
Right.
So that, you can also help other people, other departments, other divisions to be more innovative, and then work with you, right? So this is the politics that we need to play.
That's such an interesting topic.
Yeah, we shouldn't really maneuver in the organization just to get your, high salary or to satisfy your self-esteem. Yeah, we need to play politics. Yeah.
Yes.
To empower others.
Yeah. Why do you start shouting suddenly?
I really think it's important in my current work. I really try to contribute to this kind of a healthy power balance in the organization,
Okay.
regardless of positions you have.
Yeah.
And I see in my current company that we are becoming better and better because everybody has a power. And then those people who have power empower others.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Ah,
So
that's cool.
I really living through it. So I just
Wow.
wanted to emphasize how great I feel about this great change.
That's why you shouted. Okay.
I didn't mean to shout, but yeah.
Okay.
So you can just say when you do edit, you can lower my volume a little bit if I was too noisy.
I'll keep it.
Okay. So that was the fourth element of the framework. The last one is drawbacks,
Okay.
right? So we talked about the Luddites earlier, right? Why they were born again.
Because they were afraid of losing their ways to make ends meet.
The perfect answer. So when we face a new technological advancement and then try to implement it, some people are afraid of it.
Yeah.
Because basically technological advancement allows us to improve or increase the efficiency, right? Meaning that some jobs will be kind of obsolete. That's the first thing. Some people develop their fear.
Okay.
Now these days, technological advancement is supposed to allow us to work less, but actually what happened, especially in the Industrial Revolution, people worked way longer. There was a very interesting data from Bank of England.
Okay.
Nowadays, people work around 1,700 hours per year. So this is actually data in 2016 in the UK. 1,668 hours in the UK in 2016.
Okay.
Can you guess the working hours on average in 1830 in the UK?
I don't know. Like double.
More than that.
Really?
3,475?
I wasn't too far.
Yeah, you are not too far, but double. Can you work, twice more?
No. Hell no.
Right?
Why?
Yeah, but people did it back then,
Wow.
like 200 years ago.
Okay. Wow. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So, technological advancements, for sure, they improved efficiency, but it sparked more demands. So therefore, people needed to work more.
It's 3,500 hours
Yeah.
in a year, right?
Yeah.
So
10 hours per day, non-stop, without any holidays.
yeah, I was computing like 67 hours per week, and that's like 10 to 13 hours per day, depending on how many days you take holidays. But
Yeah.
that
No
is
life. No life.
no life. That's crazy.
Nowadays, of course, generative AI, I don't think people work much longer because of generative AI. But just I wanted to emphasize that new technological advancements can bring different issues that we never thought about,
Yeah.
right? And then, for example, child labor, I mentioned earlier, the young children were forced into labor force. So they needed to work in dangerous conditions and, of course, very little salary. But factory owners need to do that, or not only factories but also mining. It happened a lot. But it was important in a way to seize new opportunities, right?
Oh my goodness.
So there was this kind of environmental culture, in the societies that people have to work a lot to not to lose new opportunities. And then also pollution was another issue during the Industrial Revolution. To sum up this, the fifth one, drawbacks. HR really needs to understand the negative impacts caused by new technology, and then HR needs to support people to be aware of that, and then also prevent potential harm, because it also protects your company, right, from potential lawsuits or employees' unethical behaviors, right? Now, generative AI, we know that it can sometimes hallucinate, and then, it can invade copyrights as well. and also some machine learning or generative AI models can be biased as well. So it's really important to be aware of the negative aspects of the new technologies. And then HR plays a significant role in it.
Like for HR, being aware of those negative aspects, what kind of like actions can they make?
It's it's like change management I talked earlier, right? Communications, and of course the large portion of HR responsibilities is to upskill people.
Yeah.
But not only that, maybe you need to make a guideline with the different. Maybe this making a new guideline is not only HR's responsibility, but HR needs to collaborate with other divisions like a legal team or data team, and to ensure or ethics team, etc. To really support the organizational change through this new technological advancement.
Interesting. Well, so that was the last element.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, we covered a lot of stuff, and I'm surprised that HR can actually do a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not all about just HR, but HR plays an important role in this dynamically changing environment.
I really feel that HR's position has been changing in the last at least 10 years, right? And then I heard a lot like 10 years ago, HR is just administrative department. I'm sure that still people say that, but now I really feel every day that my role as an HR is to support organization. Well, support, I mean, not, I wouldn't say support, but like really realize our business objective from people and organizational point of view. That's what HR needs to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that means, sometimes there is no a clear job description. You need to do everything because everything is related to people and organization, right? So as an good HR do everything, I think.
I mean, doing this podcast, I'm discovering a lot of stuff because part of myself still think that HR is just administrative people and they're just hiring, finding talent. But then their responsibility, as we are learning, their responsibility is a lot wider than just that.
Yeah, like you mentioned the hire talent, but then it's really important as an HR to understand why we need to hire these people.
Yeah.
Right? These talent. And then can we really afford to pay for this talent? You need to think about the financial situation. And also, if we hire these people, can we actually bring more revenue or more profit, or can we optimize our cost? So this view, this thought is really important for HR to be really efficient and contribute to the organization.
Yeah.
And that requires HR to understand a lot of things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I guess we're closing this episode, and the next coming up is the last part of this series, which is about analyzing generative AI.
Yes.
Right?
So we're gonna use the framework which we used in the last two episodes, the printing press and the industrial revolution. But I already mentioned the generative AI many times. But in the next episode, we will again analyze the generative AI in a structured manner.
Okay.
So this is exactly what we want to do by doing this podcast and writing the blog. We want to connect humanities and the business, right? So this is exactly what we are doing. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to emphasize that. So please stay tuned for the next episode and see you soon.
All right. See you soon.